My friends, welcome back. Today we need to talk about something big, something that goes far beyond Ukraine, Russia, or even America. What we are witnessing right now is the collapse of the world order. Yes, the very system that has shaped our lives for decades is crumbling, and a new one is emerging. And here's the scary part. This transition never happens quietly. History shows us that when the old order falls, chaos follows. The 19th century, the 20th century, both gave us world wars as the price of transition. So the big question is, are we sliding into World War III right now, slowly, step by step, without even realizing it? Let's dive in. Think of it like walking into a dark storm cloud. You don't see the storm all at once, you drift into it. That's what's happening today. Ukraine has been at war for over 3.5 years. Russia is not backing down. NATO is not backing down. And the battlefield is expanding, not shrinking. Russia is backed by Belarus, Iran, and even North Korea, which has already sent thousands of troops and promises tens of thousands more. China, the silent giant, is helping in the shadows, buying Russian oil and gas, selling dual-use technology, and whispering to Europe, Russia cannot lose, we will not allow it. Meanwhile, India has quietly become one of the biggest buyers of Russian oil. So when you hear politicians talk about isolating Russia, that's an illusion. Now here's where it gets interesting. Just a few days ago, the US approved the transfer of 3,500 long-range cruise missiles to Ukraine. The cost? About $825 million. But here's the twist. America isn't paying. The bill will be covered by Denmark, Norway, and the Netherlands. Why? Because under Trump's new arrangement, the US no longer gives Ukraine weapons for free. Instead, America sells to European NATO members, and they gift the weapons to Ukraine. That way, Trump can say, we're not giving away US money anymore. Clever, right? He makes America richer while Europe foots the bill. These missiles will be mounted on Ukraine's F-16 fighter jets, also donated by European allies. Belgium is preparing to send its own fleet soon, and with a range of up to 300 kilometers, these missiles are serious weapons. But there's a catch. Pentagon rules say, Ukraine cannot use US weapons to strike inside Russia itself. Only inside occupied territories like Crimea or the Donbas. That means Ukraine is still fighting with one hand tied behind its back. And then we have Germany. Germany could have changed the war. They have powerful Taurus missiles with a range of 500 kilometers. Ukraine begged for them. But Germany said no. Why? Because if Russian cities are hit with German weapons, Russia could retaliate directly against Germany. So while Ukraine wants every tool possible, its hands are constantly tied by Western caution. Think about the contrast. Under Biden, America sent over $67 billion worth of weapons and aid directly to Ukraine. Biden called it defending democracy. Trump? He calls it a scam, a ripoff. In his words, Biden was giving away hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine for nothing. So Trump flipped the strategy. Now, America profits. Europe pays. This has completely changed the game. Arms factories in the US are now swamped with orders, not from Saudi Arabia or Gulf states as in the past, but from Europe. Poland, Norway, the Baltics, even Germany are buying American weapons like never before. Waiting times for systems like the Patriot air defense are now 3-5 years. They are literally sold out like bread at a market. Why do Europeans prefer American weapons even over their own? Simple. Combat experience. Take the F-16. It's been tested in thousands of missions worldwide from the Middle East to Europe. Every flaw has been exposed and fixed. Compare that to France's Rafale, which performed poorly in skirmishes between India and Pakistan. Or Europe's Eurofighter, which lacks the same real-world record. Battle-tested weapons sell, and America has them. That's why the world is lining up at US factories. So, will 3,500 new cruise missiles change the war? Honestly, no. They'll help Ukraine hold on. They'll hit targets in Crimea. They'll frustrate Russia. But they won't defeat Russia. Why? Because Ukraine is still forbidden from striking the heart of Russia, and because Russia has escalated massively. Some days, Moscow launches up to 1,000 missiles and drones at Ukraine. Compare that to the early years of the war, when 50 or 100 missiles in a day was considered shocking. The scale has multiplied. Ukraine, meanwhile, struggles with manpower shortages, ammo shortages, and now the drying up of direct US aid. Trump is not approving new packages. Europe is filling the gap, but Europe's resources are limited, so Putin sees an opportunity. He believes Trump's new stance makes Ukraine weaker. He thinks he can bleed Ukraine out. Trump even floated so-called peace deals offering Russia Ukraine's occupied territories and promising Ukraine would never join NATO. Zelensky hesitated, but Putin refused. Why? Because he believes he can win on the battlefield. And while Putin sends waves of missiles, Ukraine's civilian suffering grows. In one attack on Kyiv just last week, 23 people died, including 4 children. Europe knows the danger. If Russia crushes Ukraine, the next targets could be the Baltics or even Poland. That's why Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, small but determined, are sending everything they can. For them, this is survival. Germany has stepped up recently, sending Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine, but they're also buying replacements for themselves from America, each costing about $1 billion and taking years to produce. Across Europe, billions are being spent on US weapons, just to keep NATO's eastern flank alive. Let's step back. What's really happening? Biden's goal was to trap Russia in Ukraine, a war of attrition, a slow bleed, and it worked. Russia has lost tens of thousands of troops, billions in weapons, and still can't deliver a knockout blow. But Trump's arrival changed the balance. He wants to profit, not pay. He wants Europe to shoulder the cost. And by doing so, he weakened the Western Front, just enough to give Putin hope. This is why we say the world order is collapsing. Old alliances are shaky, NATO is nervous, and Russia, China, and others are watching closely. So where do we go from here? If America pulls further back under Trump, Europe must fill the gap. But Europe doesn't have the money, the factories, or the political unity. That means Ukraine will struggle more and more. If Russia senses weakness, expect even more escalation, cyber attacks, sabotage, propaganda, and maybe even strikes beyond Ukraine. If Europe fractures, NATO itself could weaken, and that's when the New World Order will truly take shape, not with peace but with chaos. Friends, history is moving fast, too fast. We might already be inside World War III, but this time it won't look like the last ones. It won't be tanks rolling across Paris or Berlin. It'll be drones, sanctions, cyber wars, proxy battles, an endless grinding conflict that spreads across the globe. The old order is gone. The question is, what will replace it? If you found this breakdown eye-opening, do me a favor, hit that, share this video with your friends, and make sure so you don't miss the next update. And I want to hear from you. Do you think Trump's strategy will save America money, or will it push us closer to World War III? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and keep questioning the headlines.